The Gap and the Gain. Dr. Abby, I see a big smile on your face because you tell me that this book is great. Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy, The Gap and the Gain. The Gap. The Gap is your goals are always a moving goalpost or shifting goalpost that you are never going to be able to actually achieve. Now, that does not mean don't have big goals. This is, as you're gaining ground, you're looking for the bigger, better thing at all times, and you're never looking at the gain from the beginning, okay? This is the analogy I like to use with this. And this is, I'm going to use our example. When we were in grad school, we had an $89 a month 2002 Honda Civic lease payment. And well, ironically, we sold all our cars, so we don't have any cars right now. But I now look at the cars we had before we left for Europe. And we were driving a beautiful brand new Traverse and a Subaru Ascent. And the gain is, holy crap, we went from a Honda Civic to these two beautiful cars. Look at that gain in our life. Not, okay, we now have these two beautiful cars. We now need to go buy the whatever it is. That's the analogy I like to use, okay? So it is current state versus the ideal that keeps moving. This is always permanent dissatisfaction. The ideal will outrun you by design. The fixed starting point, real progress against it is undeniable. Again, I want to reiterate, this is not don't have big goals and big dreams. It is what are you going to measure your progress on? And this is huge for this community because you join Mastermind for 90 days, you get about a month or two in, and like clockwork, you're like, I'm not seeing anything. And it's because you're measuring against the gap, not seeing that you literally have gained so much in 2 months. Think about a year ago from right now, think about a number that you've absolutely gained. Think about 2 numbers, 3 numbers. There's probably 10 numbers that you've gained. But if you're in the weeds and you're thinking about the gap, you don't actually celebrate the gains. Oh, I love this one. Okay, big leap. When my wife and I, and again, I said I was going to tell my story. I'm going to tell it very quickly. September 22, we decided to flip everything around. We went from all insurance to all cash. We live in a city, Kalamazoo, Michigan, that's very insurance-based. So going back to my first slide about mindset, there's no way we can go all cash. Well, that's BS because we did. Because Kalamazoo is insurance through and through. But September 22, we decided to actually flip our mindset and flip the entire thing around. And by June of 25, we sold the practice. And we are now taking our kids on a world adventure. We did a year abroad. We're back home for 2 months and we're going back out in September, okay? Because we decided to actually shift our entire life. What happened last year when we started telling people what we were doing? They started to pull us back down. What's the crab analogy? Yeah, I'm sure some of you know it. If you have, I'm not a fisherman, I don't live in Maryland, but if you have a bucket of crabs and one starts to crawl out, the others will pull them back down. Not even maliciously, but they're just like, where are you going? What are you doing? This is gonna happen. How many of us have been to a seminar, we get home and it's like, let's do this. And then by Wednesday, something hits and you're like, oh, you're back down. Now, what's the reason? There could be many. You're outshining others, fear of catastrophe, disloyalty to your roots, discomfort with actually gaining more. Who cares? Be weird. Be the one that's going to take yourself to the next level. People, things, the wall that you're going to hit, things are going to try and pull you back down. Don't let them. It is all in here. It's not because, some people do it on purpose, but let's not go there. People do it because they're looking at you, they're jealous, they're scared of their own lives. Don't let them bring you down. It's all in here. Get back home Monday, tomorrow, whatever day you get back home, and don't let that inevitable wall that's going to hit on Wednesday or Thursday, and it always does, you know it does, blow right through it. All right, I do want to dive into the tactics of LTV, patient retention. None of this is rocket science, and I don't mean that to diminish it. But it's all stuff we know. It's all stuff we know what to do. Some of us aren't doing it, okay? But every patient goes through 3 stages: the experience, the outcome, and the story. We are all really darn good at number 2. And we are all wanting to be good at 1 and 3, but we really aren't. It's the experience. It's exactly what we give our patients inside our walls, and then giving them the story to take out to the rest of the community. Being that billboard so that they can actually go and get people in your office. All right, the 6 levers. I don't love the word lever for this because they're not just levers. These are just more concepts, but this is exactly what we're gonna do. These are all in school. These are all, again, in, hey, reach out to me for any of the details. That's why we're not gonna go into all the details of exactly how to do it, because I don't view this as a, hey, let's actually learn how to do it today. This is a, let's get it in your mind so that then you can go find it, use us, and learn how to do it. Referral engine. So this is actually just the main concept of people wanna refer to you. I mean, how many of you went out to dinner last night, probably had a good dinner and wanted to tell people about it? How many people have some form of a technology gadget that you want to tell people about it? We want to tell people about the things we use, and your patients are the same way. You all are rock stars. You're incredible clinicians. You're amazing people. You wouldn't be in this room if you weren't good at your craft or you weren't good people. Yeah, I don't know all of you deep down, but I know all of you a little bit. And it's like, you all are pretty darn good people. Let the world know. And people want to tell everybody about you, but they can't because you don't ask them to. They don't know what to tell people about you, and you haven't built it into your systems. So think about that. People want to tell the world about you. They do, trust me. You have an entire office full of marketing and salespeople that you can send out to the community, like ants marching. But they just don't know to even do it, and they don't know what exactly to tell people about you because you're not specific enough with the ask. So this leads into how to do that. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Some people leave your office, and even though they know they're getting better and they kind of know what you do, they really don't, because your office isn't very clear. Not just with the systems in the office, but even kind of with what you do. It's not wrong to have, let's say, 10 different modalities. That's not the problem. It's just that the 10 different modalities, your office is like good at 50% of having patients understand what those modalities are. And so you need to have clarity. You need to actually take the chaos of your office and make sure the systems are so ironclad that when somebody leaves your office, they know exactly how to tell the story to the person down the road. So this is Module 1. This is where a lot of you get into HBA, and I love it. I know we want to go to Module 5, Module 6, how to get people in, how to sell. I agree with you. But remember, if you get all the people in the door and you get them on care plans, but then they can't go out and refer because they are so confused as to exactly what you do, yeah, you're going to gain some ground, but not nearly the ground that you're going to gain if you actually clarify with yourself, your staff, and the entire community as to what you do. September of 2022 was the watershed moment, the catalyst, whatever you want to call it. We were celebrating our 10-year anniversary a few months late just because of kids and life, and we had a weekend on Lake Michigan. And I was a different human then. I was a different man then. We were running an incredible practice. It was a family practice. So for those of you who don't know, I'm 13th chiropractor, 4th generation in my family. We were running the family business, the family practice. And in September of 22, we went on this 10-year kind of anniversary weekend away on Lake Michigan. And before we got there, my lovely wife said, hey, I'd like to use this as an opportunity to kind of expand, go over what the next 10 years looks like and do all this woo-woo crap. And I was good at being like, all right, we'll talk, sure. But how are we going to implement this? All right, we're just going to talk and it's not going to actually happen. But something happened that weekend in my life that shifted everything. And it is because of her. I'll take some credit that I actually jumped in, but it's because of her that I'm up here today in many, many ways. And what I did that weekend was I got out of my own way. I'm not perfect by any means, and I'm still struggling with like some of the other stuff, but I got out of my own way and I realized that if I worked on me and I figured out what the heck I wanted, and then the most important in my life, if I figured out what we wanted together, anything is possible. Anything. So if the only thing you take from this today is that no matter where you are now, no matter where you want to get to, anything is possible. I promise you that. If you're sitting there going, you don't know what you're talking about, some of the seasoned vets in here that are like, we've been through it all, anything is possible. Trust me, if you can get through my thick head and get to a spot where it's possible, it is for everybody, I promise you. So we're going to utilize some tactics that have helped me. That's the segue into this. So I'm huge on breathwork, meditation, prayer, all under that scope of 30,000 foot view. I'm big on breathwork because it regulates our nervous system. Every one of us in here works with the nervous system in some form or fashion. Chiro, PT, doesn't matter. Any wellness professional, we are really working on the nervous system, which our entire body has to function on, okay? So we are not able to take in the next, let's say 35 minutes until we are in a good spot. So I'm gonna take us through 2 different breath works and a visualization. For some of you, you've never done it before in your life, you think it's gonna be weird. My request, be weird. Be weird for the next 35 to 40 minutes. Some of you are already on board, you're like, let's go. And some of you are sitting there being like, oh crap, I knew he was gonna do this. I heard he was one of these guys. Be weird. I need you to be weird. So Just know that I'm going to be asking you, and this means, and by the way, for those of you that are having to stand, I get it. We can do this in any way, but find a spot on the floor. I want everybody to, for the moment, put anything down that they have in their hands, because we're going to get into a position where nothing can be on your lap, nothing can be in your hands. So take the next 20, 30 seconds and get to a spot. And yes, I'm going to talk about putting your feet flat on the floor. If you're in a tall chair, you can't do that. I get it. Do your absolute best. But my request is that everybody in this room, don't look at your phone for the next however long we do this. We'll go into that. Do this. Do everything that you have to get into this state. Because if you've never done breath work before or visualization, and by the way, this is kind of like surface level stuff. For those of you that have done this before, you're going to be like, all right, this was great, but we're going to do more. Trust me, there's more, but not today. Okay? So take the next 10, 15 seconds to get in a good position, put everything down, and then I'm going to go over the logistics, because I'm a logistics guy. I'm going to make sure you know what's coming, and then I'm going to take you through some stuff. Okay? And also, I'm going to sit up here because me standing and walking around while we're doing this isn't going to be good. Physiological side. Andrew Huberman, some of you know, some of you don't. Stanford, you got a great podcast, brilliant dude. He did not invent it because nobody invented it, but he's kind of made it a little more popular recently. And that is how we decrease sympathetic overdrive and increase our parasympathetic nervous system, decreasing heart rate, all of the beautiful things in the physiology to help us be able to absorb life, be able to absorb information, okay? And what that's going to be is, but don't do it yet, I'm going to take us through it. That is going to be a long inhale through the nose. And when you think you can't do any more, you take one more inhale through the nose. And that is going to get the alveoli to open up the full amount. And then it's going to be a long exhale. And by the way, this doesn't have to be done in a room like this. My wife will always ask, hey, why'd you have that big sigh? And it's just my answer of, hey, this is how I'm regulating my nervous system in this situation. You can be anywhere and do a physiological sigh, okay? So we're going to go over the logistics. We're going to do that, and then we're going to get into box breathing. Box breathing is, Navy SEALs use it all the time, really any elite performers, any athletes. Basically, box breathing is how you take your autonomic nervous system and put it into coherence. I want you to picture a Tuesday 12 months from now, August 1st or early August, Tuesday 12 months from now. I want you to start with the drive-in. Notice the road you take, the same one you take every day, except today it doesn't feel like a grind. Notice what's playing or what silent sounds like if you prefer it quiet. Notice how your hands feel on the wheel. They're loose, they're not gripping. You pull into your own parking lot. Look at your sign out front. Maybe it's the same sign you have now, maybe it's new. Either way, notice how it feels to pull up to a building that is fully yours, running exactly the way you built it to run, not the way it's been running on momentum and hope. Sit in the car for one more second before you go in. Ask yourself in this future, what did I stop carrying to get here? What weight is gone off my shoulders that used to be there every single morning? Now walk through the front door. Notice your front desk. Notice who's sitting there. Are they smiling? Do they know your patients by name before they even check in? Listen to the sound of the waiting room. Is it full? Is there a hum of real conversation? Patients who know each other because, well, they've been coming there for years and now consider each other friends? Walk back towards your treatment rooms. Notice your schedule on the wall or the screen. Full. Not overflowing and chaotic, full and calm, because the system underneath it is finally working. Every patient on that schedule today either came from someone who already trusts you or is about to become someone who refers 3 more. Now sit with one specific patient for a moment. See their face clearly. This is someone who has been with you for years now. Feel what it's like to know their name, their kid's name, their whole story, and not just their chart. Notice how you're talking with them, not rushed, not just clinical. There's an ease to it, a natural back and forth. And somewhere in that conversation, without it feeling like a pitch, you mention someone in your community who could use exactly what you just did for them. It doesn't feel like selling. It feels like the most natural thing in the world because it is. Feel what it's like to know that when this patient leaves your office today, they are going to tell somebody about you, not because you begged them to, because they can't help it. Now, step into your office, your actual office at the end of the day. Look at the numbers on the screen. Whatever number represents your next level, see it there, not as a fantasy, as Tuesday's actual number in this future. Notice how your body feels standing in that office, not frantic, not gripping the wheel white-knuckled the way you might be right now. Steady, earned, yours. One more thing before we come back. Ask yourself silently, what is already true about me right now, today, that made this Tuesday possible? Not what's missing. What do I already carry that got me here? Everybody take one more deep breath in. And when you're ready, in your own time, release that breath and open your eyes and come back to this room. Take as long as you need.
This has been amazing. We've been in for 3 months, and obviously this means a bunch to us. This is one of those things as the gap in the gain. I am notorious for the gap and not the gain, and she has to ground me on that. I'm always like, dang it, we're not there or this. And she's like, look at what we've done. Like, where have we been? We've been in practice for 11 years, which is honestly crazy to think about. And we have a beautiful life, but yet I get stuck in, which is good, that visionary role. And that's why we make such a great team. But this honestly means a lot because it is a reminder of that gain that we've been able to develop. And honestly, the conversations, helping out, sending things in the Slack messages, every single person that we've had. This honestly is the community that has felt like a family. We've been through coaching programs, and like you guys had said, they were good. We learned a lot of great stuff, but this one just felt different. And that's why we wanted to jump on this. And
yeah, Miracle and Keith, you guys mentioned just how it's helped you versus other coaching programs. So it's not like, what are you doing wrong? And we kept asking questions in past other coaching programs, like, what about this? And they just never had an answer. It wasn't like, let's problem solve. It was like, if it didn't work and I teach online courses to chiropractors, and so many people want to know what's the protocol and not the principles of like understanding. When you understand something so well, it doesn't matter what's thrown at you, which is what's been said a lot. And that's what I also teach on, is like, it shouldn't matter what comes in your door because you understand the principles of how a joint moves or whatever it is you're working on, or the mechanics of pregnancy. And so that's how this is. And that's what's really been helpful, is it's like, our practice doesn't fit the typical model. And so there's been a lot of extra questions, and that's not thrown this team off, which has been huge. And the mindset shift has been massive for us. So huge. It's, honestly, it's stuff that I would say to other people, and you just need it shoved in your own face, of just like, just freaking do it. Let's go. And the speed at which they want you to move, like, that's huge for me. It's like, just do it now. Why are you waiting? And he loves to go fast. I'm the one who's like, well, should we? I don't know. It feels like a lot. And he's like, let's just go. And then having the support of the team doing it, knowing that you guys have done it, having that support in the community group, like you said, is where it's at. So you guys building this, big praise to that. Like, it's not easy to build a community. I can speak to that with things I've done. And I think we can all attest here from this weekend with just the people that are here, because this isn't everybody in your group, is how unreal is that? And that's been what's huge for us, is that community, understanding our value. And that actually is the big thing too, is we actually lost an associate during this process, transitioning to programs, transitioning to outcome, because she couldn't see the vision. We can see it. That's why we're the leaders for our practice. That's why it's good that she's not with us anymore. So all through this, we had a lot of chaos. We hit 80K in June, which is huge. We did not hit that in July. We had chaos, but now we know what we're capable of and what the clinic can do. And we know that because we had a team supporting us. All the people that are around, I don't even know where Steve's at. He had many conversations with us, that poor man. But thank you, Steve. And it's that community, it's that reach out, it's that knowing that we are not alone in it. That was huge. And the concept of what was even talked about again today with Steve, which is like the program, increasing our rates, all those things really just made this happen.
So yeah, I called Steve Monday. I'm like, you don't want me to talk. I said, July has been my worst month. I was 60K too. And then July, I was like, up till Tuesday, I was at 40,000. So I'm like, I don't think I'm worthy, but sure enough, there we go. Tuesday and Wednesday was crazy. So like my friend over here, and you're hearing this reoccurring theme, I'm 32 years in practice, and I've been in every practice management probably there is, that some don't even exist anymore. And I spent a lot of time chasing numbers. So one program was to get to 1,000 a week. And, I, just like with anything, just like with this, I dove in, and within a year or 2 years, I was seeing 1,000 patients a week. And I got there and I was like, well, this sucks. 'Cause I was doing screenings every weekend. I was working my tail off. I was sore. I was beat up. And the bottom line, I wasn't making a lot of money. We lived a good life, but the things they're talking about wasn't going to happen. So there was that big peak and then that huge drop off. Then I joined another program and decided to turn my practice, which I'm still doing now, in the spinal decompression. But the number with that was, and Bill Moyle is here, he'll understand that. How many machines do you got? So they would introduce us by, oh, this is Dr. Lurie. He's got 60 compression machines. And well, we built that. And yeah, it was great to have all this gear. But again, the bottom line, they didn't teach anything about knowing your numbers. So you weren't making a lot of money. Good life, but not setting up for the future. So I chased it for years. I really feel like now I'm in a good spot. When I joined, it was mass confusion because I want to retire in 3 years. That's my goal, either to retire or step away. So that's why I jumped into that boardroom, which kind of really laser focused. I thought I was going to have to blow things up again, which I'm always willing to do. But it was just so comforting because within an hour, they told me, no, you're in the right spot. There's just a couple of key things you got to work on. So it's really been a breath of fresh air for me to feel that release. And, I told Steve earlier that I have never in 32 years been able to pull up to my practice and relax and take a deep breath, or walk through the first door or the door of your practice and just know things are going on. I was always distracted. I worked super hard. I've taken everything and put it on my shoulders, and they've taught me to start giving things away. I don't get to sit and have great conversation and relationships with my practice members or patients yet, but we're working on that. I long for that, to be able to spend that time with them, but they've given me the vision, so I'm really blessed to do that. I'm definitely going to be, within the next month or two, get one of those silver ones.
Wow, I didn't realize we were going to win this award. So I'm Dr. Melissa, Andrea. Yeah, it's been a long road. I've been in practice for 28 years, and we've done a ton of coaching over these past 4 years. There's been a lot of roadblocks for my career, but here we are. I finally have an associate that has made a big difference for me, not having to show up every day and being in everything in the office. So I've just been so grateful for that. Andrea is also my everything.
Thank you. That's nice.
She works way too much, and I really hope that we straighten some of that out for her.
So a little over a month ago, we started with you guys, and we have done lots of coaching programs over the years. And one of the things that Melissa was like steadfast about is we have to make this happen faster. And so your message of like speed, and I'm like, hold up. But feeling that like the thing that's stopping Dr. Mike, that where we get slowed down because we can't totally see what's next, like we have new vision and new possibilities, and now allowing myself to have our team take on more things, and me not having to hold so tight, and creating the opportunity for us to have a life that we want differently than what we've been having. And, we are blessed. Our kid goes to a farm school, and but I don't have as much time. So really what there is more time and more freedom. And this group, like everyone I've met and spoken with so far, like you all are stellar humans, and I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful that we're on this journey. And it isn't easy, and I know it's not supposed to be easy, but we're on our way, and we're gonna be at that silver one pretty soon.
So then on one of the first phone calls we got on with these guys, and Odell is like, okay, so what's your ROAS? I looked at Dr. Miracle.
No. What's your acquisition channel?
He was like, what funnels are you running? I'm like, funnels? Like, we live in that like tornado country, like
On a cloud.
What funnels are we looking for? And then he was asking about ROAS and cost per click and cost per lead and what's the lifetime average of a patient. I'm looking at the computer like, what are you saying? And so from that moment, because at first I didn't know what HBA was either. She came to me and she said, we need to do this. We want to acquire property, real estate, and we're going to learn from these people. And I said, well, who are these people? She said, Abby and Odell. And I said, well, who are they? She says, Abby from Cairo Intensive. I said, okay, the podcast lady. Because I remember you had launched her podcast at that event, and we listened to it that evening, came back the next day. And then she says, so we're going to join. I said, well, I don't even know what this is. And then we joined, and I still don't know what it is. But I'm leaning on Dr. Miracle. And so then it was when we got into the inner circle that I actually took the time to go through school and go through all these things. And I was like, oh, like this is a resource. So that's when we started diving into the videos and the modules. And I was like, oh crap, like I need to check what this ROAS and all these things are. So I started going through Facebook to our ads. Only one ad has been performing. I didn't know that, right? And none of the ads with my faces on them performed. It was all Dr. Miracle. So I'm like, oh wow, that's mind blowing. Like, you mean to tell me this ad got 7 leads, this ad got 8 leads, but that ad got 70 leads? Yeah, girl. Yeah. Like, so I felt like so now that we've hit that 50K again, I don't see us going back down. The first 3 months of the year, we averaged 45K a month. The second quarter, we averaged 56K a month. And I don't see that going down because now we have the tools to be able to say, okay, things are bad. It's not the market. You need to go and look at these numbers and keep up with these numbers. And then we started talking more about lead acquisitions and what's happening when our leads come in. And I'm like, well, the text messages go out. What happens then? They say yes or no. Well, then we started talking about VAs and how taking care of the leads and calling those leads are super important. And I promise y'all, that is one of the main things that we've implemented to increase average 11K a month, was making sure our VAs stayed on top of contacting these leads, nurturing the leads and the funnels, and making sure that I think we sent 3 text messages to the people. If they didn't respond by the 3rd text message, that was it. So fixing all of those things, nurturing those leads, has increased us by 11K. We recently recorded the videos that we're going to launch for new ads. We're about to hire a new VA to be able to replace the marketing company that we were working with, because I got to go to them to get the information that y'all should have been giving me for years. Right. Does that make sense? Why have I been paying you $850 a month? Now, when times were good, times were good. Because again, I did nothing different from the 70K to the 40K. But now I know y'all, if we could go back and take care of more leads when we were making 70K, we probably would have been $1 million practice. If y'all would have just met each other way earlier, got married way sooner, started this way back when, I probably would be at 150, 200K a month by now. But to be able to have the confidence that we're going to get there, and it's going to be soon, because we have tools and resources to put in place, not just wait on the market to get better.
Yeah. And
So
one
that
more
was
thing about the
life-changing.
VAs too. So he talked about the virtual assistants to be able to do the funnels and the marketing side of things. But also one of the things that we've learned from them is anything that is stressing me out, because like Dr. Keith says, when I'm stressed, it's like a tornado. Things just spiral out of control. So offloading a lot of the things that stress me out to the VAs as well. So our next steps that we're implementing, we have 2 VAs now. We're hiring a 3rd one, and that 3rd VA is going to be our executive assistant. They're literally doing everything. Anything that I don't want to do that's business, they are going to do. So that way we can really spend more time together and then just spend more time doing the things that we love in the practice.
I would say that the main thing is if you want to be a leader who has an awesome team, your vision needs to be big enough for your team's visions to fit inside of it. So Odell and Abby's vision is so big that all of their team members can have their visions inside of it. And so for me, leaving engineering to go manage a chiropractic clinic, everybody thought I was insane. Everybody I talked to was like, you went to school for engineering and now you're doing that? But Dr. Darian's vision was so big that my vision, my dreams all fit inside of that. The life that I wanted to live, the success that I wanted to have was able to fit inside of that. And so it made perfect sense to me. It was 100% likely that it was all going to happen. And so I sold everything, moved to Cyprus, and 2.5 years in, like you mentioned, we just did a $92,000 month, which is super awesome, super exciting. And now Dr. Justin can talk about expanding into the second location a little bit in his first month.
Yeah, so I actually came onto the Ignite team last November. Before I even graduated, I graduated last December. I'm only 27 years old. And like you talked about the vision, like your mentor or your leader, their vision has to be bigger than yours for yours to fit inside of it. And I'm fortunate enough to get to work with my best friends, Dr. Darian. I met him in Try One of school, and we hit it off. We became best friends. Like we were spending 24 hours together every day. Like, and I had a wife at home, and she was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, "Hey, we're out of dinner. We're game planning." Like, and so last November I went down, and Chris and Darian took me to dinner, and they were like, "Hey, so this is our goal." And they already knew I wanted multiple locations. Like I already had that vision. And it's funny, like we talk about compressing timelines. I didn't even understand that principle. But I was talking to my wife after they like gave me the pitch of like, "Hey, you need to come on with our team." And it's like, how fast can I get to 3 to 5 businesses, like, or 3 to 5 offices? Like, and then I was like, the faster I can do it is because of him. Like he has the revenue. I'm a student. I have student debt. I don't have any money to get there. I knew I would find a way. And then I joined the team, and we're able to open up our second office in less than 6 months. And then our first month 3 weeks, we did 20K. So combined between the two, we did 112K. And then we did boardroom, and we were like, yeah, like, you know, our goal originally was 3 to 5 businesses. And then at boardroom, we were like, yeah, 20 offices. And they're like, that's it? And we're like, yeah. And they were like, well, how fast do you want to get there? We're like, oh, 10 years, you know, we'll get there. And they're like, why aren't you doing 5 a year? Like, and so all weekend, me and Chris, like we talk about compressing timeline. It's like, why did we not do this last week? Like I'm about to hire a CA. I've been open for 3 weeks, and I'm like, I have to hire for the potential that I'm going to go into, because if I stay on this path, I'm going to be at 100 PVs next week. So I continue, like we talk about compressing timeline, but it's just like, how fast can we get there? And it's like blind faith. Like just because we want to meet or create such a big impact on the world, it's not about the revenue. Like revenue comes with it. Revenue is just an exchange of energy. Like money is an exchange of energy. It's how big of an impact can we make? And the bigger impact we can do that is through 200 offices, however many offices it ends up being.
So by that point, I had only been scaling maybe $25,000, $30,000 a month. And I was like, okay, how am I still going to still grow? My vision is to do $1 million this year. So I changed my consults. I made a very big mistake in the very beginning by negotiating my price, negotiating my value, because I wanted to bring in $199. So how many sessions of that did I have to actually sell to make the money? So I had hospital friends that wanted to come in. I gave first responder discounts, but then the discounts became Susie's negotiable. And then I had to stop that. And when I did stop that is when I grew. And now my consults lead with the outcome before I even have the consultation. What is it that they want to achieve? What is the goal? This is how much time it's going to take. This is our result, and this is going to be your final outcome. And then I don't even speak about price. However, and I've seen a lot of people on chats that they'll give the package before they give the actual price for the initial consultation. My initial treatment is $425. You want to do one session? Okay, $425. But if you want to purchase the package, it's going to be XYZ. So their value automatically, they're thinking numbers. Well, I won't sell anything less than 6 sessions. You don't want to do 6 sessions? Okay, do one, $425 every time you come in, but you're not going to get the same outcome that you came to me for. Now, medical spa is very different than chiropractic. However, if somebody wants to come in for cellulite reduction, it's not going to happen overnight. If you want to come in for facial tightening, it's not happening overnight. And the machines I have are very expensive. They're very good, but you need 6 to 10 sessions. And that's what I sell. And now I don't sell anything less. And when people come to me, and I made a commercial, I have a commercial that I put on TV, 150 stations, and it shows my med spa. And it shows the luxury of my med spa, and you're coming in for a concierge service. I don't offer anything less. They come in, I meet and greet, I work alone. My $108,000 I brought in was me. It wasn't projected income. It wasn't maybe they're gonna buy a session on Tuesday. It was actual dollars I collected. And that's what I intend to do, double and triple that when I leave here. because I already decided that when I leave here, I'm hiring somebody on Monday. So that is my story. My inspiration to you would be find out where your leak is and take whatever your leak is and work on just that one thing. Only offer your best procedure. I'm sure that every chiropractor, physical therapist has one particular, somebody says the same thing. I have back pain. Oh, I have hip pain. Oh, I can't run for my knees. Find what that is, create a package for that, and then just go with it.
So this like perfect storm, most terrible storm happened where like Facebook went down, Google went down, and at that exact time we had just hired the second associate and wired like $7,000 for his relocation bonus. And so everything that we had worked to like crescendo, all this energy to be able to fill the capacity of another doctor fell apart at the seams. So I was like completely panicking. I was freaking out. And I'm like, Eric, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You know, and so we had to get super creative. We had really been avoiding doing events for probably since 2020, I believe, because we spent so much time doing events before like the world shut down and all of that, and we had burned ourselves out doing them. I mean, like, you know, we're saying like every weekend's taken, you know, all of that. So we had burned ourselves to the ground doing events, and we just decided like, we're not doing grassroots marketing. Like one of my favorite sayings that Odell quotes is like, I want my money to go make me money. I don't want my time to make me money. And so that's what we had been doing for years, but then the whole floor fell out at the end of Q1. And so we had to go back to the drawing board, and we were really forced to just confront what we had been avoiding doing in our business. So even though you might have like all the playbooks for ads and all the things, and that's wonderful, if you're looking at growing your business, one of the biggest corners to look in is like, when you think about what are you avoiding the most, oftentimes like your treasure can lie there. That's where you can find the gold. So I would just ask you guys, what are you not confronting about your business? Is it showing up online? Is it firing an employee? Is it starting over? Like whatever it is, usually whatever you're avoiding the most is what you need to go and do. And for me, that was getting back to grassroots marketing. But we were forced to do that. So in confronting that, we also had to get super, super creative. You know, what does our community want to actually be a part of and hear about? So instead of just doing events that were based on chiropractic, we started doing super creative events that had nothing to do with chiropractic, just to build energy in our office. So we started doing Pilates events where we would bring in, 14, 15 new patients on a Saturday. We did a huge toy exchange event for kids, posted it in all the local mom groups. So what do our ideal clients want to be participating in? And then going and creating events like that so that you're pulling people from the community that want to be part of your organization, not necessarily coming to you for your offer. And so that was really, really helpful. And we took those events and we turned all of those into offers. And we increased our referrals in June when we hit our $200,000 month. We increased our referrals by 137% that month, even though all of our ads were down. So we actually hit our record with no ads working.
Check. This life can take a toll just like the highway. I did some right things but wasn't going the right way. I turned to the light but it wasn't lightweight. Yeah, these burdens can get